So this month, the month of May, we are celebrating, commemorating the 20th anniversary of this spiritual community. 20 years of expressing God's love, being God's light, and living God's truth. The first Sunday of the month, or the first weekend of the month, I should say, we had an amazing experience of a gala event on Saturday night, and then we continued the celebration into Sunday morning, and it was really quite spectacular. We set the tone for our next 20 years. And the theme for the entire month, based on this anniversary, is bridging between where we've been, where we are now, and where we're going. So the 20 years where we've been, where we are today, and what our next 20 years look like. So we've looked at that as a theme for the month, but not so much just about the church, but it's about ourselves. So where have I been? Where have you been? Where are you now, and where are you going? That's really our theme. To look at our growth, our expansion. Where are we? Where have we been? Where are we going? So last week, our theme for last week was inspired by a beautiful quote from Rumi, the Persian poet Rumi. And I want to share that again today because it's going to then springboard us into where we're going to go today. So that quote last week was, "I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being." I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in the darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. So we explored that idea last week in a lovely, inspiring way. And if you weren't here and didn't have a chance to experience that, please jump on our website because you can listen to it. Or now, in case you aren't aware of this, we now, thanks to John Baker, who's sitting right in the very back, we now have YouTube videos up of every Sunday so you can actually watch rather than just listen to the talk. So maybe you didn't know that yet. But thank you, John. Let's give John a hand. Thank you for that, John. Thank you so much for figuring out how to do that and giving us the template for doing it. And so you can jump on our website and either listen to or watch last week if you want to explore where we went last Sunday. But today we're going to springboard off of the idea of the astonishing light of your own being by realizing that in order to fully shine that light, to fully experience the manifestation of our deeply, divinely guided and directed dreams and our highest hopes and aspirations, we must live in the only place that we can live. And that only place we can live is in this present now moment. Now, you may be thinking, well, I just kind of contradicted myself, didn't I? I said we're celebrating this whole month where we've been, where we are, where we're going. And now I just said, well, the only place we can be is here. So what about that business of where we were and where we're going? Doesn't that sound like a conflict? Maybe, but it isn't. It isn't. And I want to explain at least my view of why it isn't. So I'm going to quote myself right now. As I was thinking about this talk and writing things down, I liked how I wrote this, and so I want to read it like I wrote it and not ad-lib it, because I want you to get how this came out of my heart. So, quoting Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington of Creative Living Fellowship. Oh, that sounded good. Author of, let's put in a name there. All right, so here we go. When we look at where we've been, when we acknowledge it, when we accept it, when we shine the astonishing light of our own being on those places that seem dark through forgiveness and release, even when we honor the past, and when we set our sights, our intentions, our vibration, our energy on our expansion and on our expanded experiences in the future, when we do those two things, and then when we come into full present moment awareness and choose to live out fully this moment, that is when we amp up our ability to have our hearts opened and our dreams brought into manifestation. We magnify our power to create a joy-filled life currently as well as in the future. End quote. So that was a bit of a mouthful. I'm thinking maybe I want to do it one more time so you get it. Would that be good? Would that be good? Okay, good. So when we look at where we've been, when we acknowledge it, accept it, shine the astonishing light of our own being on those places that seem dark through forgiveness and release, when we even honor the past, and when we set our sights, our intentions, our vibrations, our energy on our expansion and our expanded experiences in the future. When we do those two things, and then when we come into present moment awareness and choose to live full out right here and now, that is when we amp up our ability to open our hearts and have our dreams brought into manifestation. We magnify our power to create a joy-filled life currently as well as in the future. Yay, there it is. Yeah. So I love it when destiny, there it is, which is based on synchronicity. When synchro destiny happens, and a synchronistic thing occurred not too long ago, I received a note from the universe from Mike Dooley's Thoughts, Universal Thoughts, and I knew I was going to be giving this talk today, and because it related so much, I knew it would fit, and I want to share that with you today. And so this is a note from the universe. This is basically a note from God to us. Those of you who receive notes, you got this already, but you might have forgotten it. The universe says, did you know that the single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wanted a life partner is the exact same single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wanted to live in prosperity? Which also happens to be the single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wished to discover their purpose, foster peace on earth, improve their health, or dance, how do you say that? Gangnam Style. Who knows what Gangnam Style is? Look at you, how hip you are. There are some people my age who raised their hands. I had no idea what that meant. I had to look that up to find out what in the heck was that. So, YouTube we love Google, so I looked it up, and I thought, oh, well, I'll do it. I'll dance like that. Oh, no, I won't. Although that's a little bit of it, right? All right, so back to the quote. So what is that single piece of advice? Be happy now. Be happy now. That speaks to present moment awareness. So this is not a new concept. This is not even a new thought or exclusively science of mind concept. We can find this in teachings of the ages. In Christianity, in the Christian Gospels, it says, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. So what does that say? That says, let go of the past. Let go of the past. You cannot enter the kingdom of God. You cannot experience the divine when you're hanging on to looking back at the past. Jesus told us about not looking to the future or worrying about the future, because his words were explicit. He said, therefore I tell you, do not worry about the future. Those are his words. I tell you, therefore, do not worry about the future. In other words, be here, now, present moment. Be long before Christianity, Zen Buddhism had as its basic tenet walking deeply in the now, being so completely present that no problem, no suffering, nothing can knock you off the center of the essence of who you are. The Sufi teachings, the same thing, living in the now. Sufi mystic, master poet Rumi said, past and future veil God from our sight. Burn up both of them with fire. Isn't that something? I love that. Past and future veil God from our sight. Burn up both of them with fire. And Meister Eckhart, 13th century mystic, spiritual teacher, said, time is what keeps the light from reaching us. There is no greater obstacle to God than time. Now, I'm going to just address that a little bit, maybe adjust it a bit. There is no obstacle to God at all. And God has no obstacles. I believe what he means is an obstacle for us to feel connected to God. Time is an obstacle to us to feel connected to God. When we are worrying or thinking or fretting or upset or stewing or whatever we might do over the past, or when we're worrying, fretting, stewing, or being impatient about the future, we are not able to be in the presence of God. That's, I believe, what he meant. And then let's move forward to our dear founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook. He has a lot to say about this. He writes, we should erase thoughts of yesterday that would rob us of today's happiness. We should erase thoughts of yesterday that would rob us of today's happiness. And then he gives us some specific wording to use if we are letting thoughts of yesterday rob us of today's happiness. These words are, there is nothing arising out of the past that can disturb me. I loose all things that in the past have caused anxiety. The spirit knows no past and is not affected by the belief in any. The past is swallowed up in the victory of a perfect present, which is filled with love and protection. Aren't those beautiful statements? Ernest Holmes says to say them. He says, you should say these. So guess what? Guess what we're going to do? Take a guess. We're going to say them. All right? Are you ready to say them? Okay, I just need to check because I wanted to make sure. So I'm going to chunk it up so that you don't have to remember all of that. Are you ready? So here we go. Get in whatever position. I love it how people go, you go there right away. There is nothing arising out of my past.
There is nothing arising out of my past
that can disturb me. I loose all things that have in the past caused anxiety. The spirit knows no past. And is not affected by any belief in it. The past is swallowed up in the victory of a perfect presence, which is filled with love and protection. So let's do that last line again. The past is swallowed up in the victory of a perfect present, which is filled with love and protection. Yeah. Nice. Amen, sisters and brothers. But he doesn't stop there. There's more. Because that was just dealing with the past. Let's now talk about the future. So he says, he goes on to write, equally, we must have no fear of the future. Equally, we must have no fear of the future. And he suggests, let us say this. So you know where this is going, so just pay attention and then we'll do it. I see that the future is bright with promise. It beckons me forward into a complete realization of my own worth and my rightful place in the universe. Doesn't that just make you want to sit up straighter? And I love that. All my tomorrows are happy and filled with harmonious occupations. I look to the future with great and pleasurable anticipation, knowing it expands my opportunity for radiant self-expression. Ready? Here we go. I see that the future is bright with promise.
I see that the future is bright with promise.
It beckons me forward.
It beckons me forward
into a more complete realization of my own worth and my rightful place in the universe. All my tomorrows are happy and filled with harmonious occupation. I look to the future with great and pleasurable anticipation, knowing it expands my opportunity for radiant self-expression. Yeah, amen? Nice. Nice. And so it is. So if you like that passage and want to go back and refer to it, it is on page 245. It begins on page 245 of our Science of Mind textbook. I want to wrap that together, wrap it up with one more statement from Holmes. It continues. He says, I love my past and my future, and I understand that they are but continuations of the one unbroken chain of life. There is no future to be afraid of and no past to bring discord to the present. So we release grip, the fear, the hurt, the resentment, the pain, the whatever it might be of the past. And we let go of any fear, worry, doubt, or even impatience about the future. And we live in the present moment. So we do have a little bit, just a tiny bit, I think, of a challenge in New Thought. Specifically, particularly about the future. And I've talked to this before, but I want to address it again here because I think it's really important. We are very goal-oriented in our New Thought teachings, in our religious science teachings, because we believe that we came here to express life fully and abundantly, and to be on purpose, to have rich experiences, whatever that means for us. And we believe not only we came here to have it, we believe we deserve it, and that when we have those and experience those things, we are a greater light in the world, and we're expressing God in higher ways. So we absolutely believe that, and we teach that through our consciousness, our thinking, our feeling, our words, our actions, our values, all that's going on inside of us, that we create that future. And so we're very oriented into creating a better, different future, a more evolved future for not just ourselves, but for humankind. And that's fabulous and wonderful, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But where we can get into trouble is when we are so attached to that vision that we become dissatisfied with where we are. Anybody ever do that? Oh, come on, get those hands up. Get those hands up. I know, we do that. We want this so much, and yet we're here. So we're unhappy here, and worried and impatient and sad, and yeah, Dad, it's not happening. Why is it happening? Anybody ever whine like that? Come on, I've heard you. I've done it. We've all done it. But we know, and I will just want to anchor it again in our knowing of what happens when we do that. When we have a goal, a vision that is here, and we are living here unhappily so, when we are living here unhappily so that this has not yet happened, what are we doing right here? What are we creating? More of unhappily here. We are never going to align with this when we are unhappy here that this has not yet happened. It is only when we are happy and joyous about where we are right now. It is only when we are loving this moment that we can align with this and then pull it into our experience, and then we marry the experience. That's how it works. But I get how frustrated we can get when the vision hasn't manifested yet. I understand that. But it is so important that we not let ourselves get into the, it's not here yet, because we're just going to create more of, it's not here yet. So I love this idea. It came from the Prosperity Plus materials from Mary Morrissey, and it's about having high involvement with our dreams and visions, but low attachment to it. So what does that mean? High involvement, but low attachment. High involvement means that absolutely we are clear about our vision. We have a vision, and if you don't have one yet and you want help with that, take Prosperity Plus 2, because we will work. You will write one, and then I will calibrate it. Ooh, that's a fancy word, isn't it? Come to class to find out what that means. I will calibrate it for you to make sure it's a really high level, high vibration vision. So we do that, and then we spend time periodically, fairly regularly, with our vision, being in it, seeing it in our mind's eye. So that's high involvement. High involvement also means doing what I'm guided to do in this moment to take a step toward that vision. That's high involvement. Low attachment means I am releasing the when, the how, the wherefore, and even the if my vision actually comes into manifestation. Let me say it again. I am releasing the when, the how, the where, the wherefore, and even the if my vision actually manifests in this world of form. I let that go. That's low attachment. I let that go and live in the now. I live happy in the now. I live full out in the now. I do whatever I'm doing with joy and passion and enthusiasm and excitement, whatever it might be. High involvement, low attachment. That's a beautiful thing to remember and will help us stay in the moment. So what would happen for us if we really did let go of the past, whether it's 10 minutes ago or 10 years or 20 years or 50 years ago, whatever it is that we still might be holding on to? What would happen to us What kind of power would we have if we truly let that go? And if we truly moved into a high involvement, low attachment approach to our future, what power would we have? All power. Because the power of God, the essence of all creation, only knows the now moment. So we would be in touch with, we would have access to the all power of the universe when we can do that. My very first spiritual teacher, who wasn't a spiritual teacher by name anyway, but she absolutely was my therapist. Many of you have heard me talk about Marilyn Powers and the amazing things that she opened up for me. One of them was the use of affirmations. The other one was, Michelle, get yourself connected back to God, because you're trying to fill a hole in your heart with other stuff, and it's never going to happen until you connect to God. So that's why she was a spiritual teacher, not just a therapist. But she gave me an affirmation that I still use today, because it's emblazoned in my mind. It's burned into my thoughts when I want to move out of the present moment. And it is simply this: the present is my point of power. You guys know it because it's on that CD, the affirmation CD, or the prosperity affirmation CD. So the present is my point of power.
The present is my point of power.
Yeah, that's it. It is. There's a great dialogue that occurs in Zorba the Greek. Didn't expect that, did you? It goes like this. I say, what are you doing at this moment, Zorba? I'm sleeping. Well then, sleep well. What are you doing at this moment, Zorba? I'm working. Well then, work well. What are you doing in this moment, Zorba? I'm kissing a woman. Well, kiss her well, Zorba, and forget all the rest while you are doing it. There is nothing else on earth, only you and her. We all have the opportunity every moment to kiss life, to kiss this now moment, and to know that there is nothing else. There is only this now moment. Not 5 minutes from now, not 5 minutes ago. This now moment. Eric Butterworth, beautiful Unity minister, wrote, the only demonstration there is, ever was, or ever will be is in and of divine law, and the only time it knows is now. So let us not pray to heal tomorrow, but let us instead have a consciousness of wholeness now and live to the best of our abilities from that place. Let's not pray that tomorrow we find a job if that's something that we need, but affirm that you are in your right place right now, and then show up fully and do your best at whatever you're doing. Do not pray to become what you want. Know that you are already it, a perfect and divine expression of God, and behave that way. Don't pray for greater abundance. Feel yourself outrageously blessed and abundant right now, and then live in gratitude for it. Because all of those things really are right here in the present, even if you can't see them yet. Jesus said, as in a metaphor, he was so beautifully used metaphors. He said, you may say it takes 6 months until the harvest, but I say unto you, lift up your eyes, for the fields are now white unto the harvest. So the harvest may not have been yet in the physical world, but it is in the world of the divine. It is already done in the world of the divine. And when we bring present moment awareness to it, then we bring the physical manifestation to us. So since this month is about celebrating our personal experiences, our personal growth, our personal transformations, and celebrating 20 years of CLF's expressing love, light, and truth, I want to share with you something that I received this week from one of our own Astonishing Lights here. And it is an example of present moment awareness. There's some past in it, there's some history, and then there is an aha, a light bulb present moment awareness, which absolutely sets the tone for an amazing future. So I want to read this to you now. This letter physically came in the mail to me this week. So that's another beautiful synchronicity. Dear Reverend Michelle and all of my wonderful family at Creative Living Fellowship. So this letter is to you. Enclosed, you will find my old Arizona Quest card, or EBT card. And if you don't know what that is, you will in a moment. When I first came to Arizona in 2010, I was very ill with my bipolar disorder and had just come out of a lengthy hospitalization. I had quit my job a few months earlier and had lost my apartment. If it weren't for the love of my mother, who suffered greatly during this period, I would not be alive. She brought me to Phoenix, a place where I had never wanted to live, and started the long process of nursing me back to health. After a couple of short-lived jobs, I had no choice but to apply for government assistance and was awarded with access and this card. During the first year and a half of living with my beloved partner, this EBT card and my allotment of $120 a month was what we bought groceries on. We had little else. In October of 2012, my partner and I started attending CLF. And at the end of that year, I got my first long-term job at Life Challenges because of Mark Elliott, who was CLF's director of operations at that time. This disqualified me for EBT, but because I wasn't making much money at that time, I was afraid. So I kept this card in my wallet in case I would need it again. But somehow, we not only made it, we thrived. Today, the day this letter was written, last week, today, when I went to the bank, I pulled out this card by accident, and it made me think. Now, working with Jeannie Soverns at Equity Lifestyle Properties, I'm no longer afraid that I might need this card again someday. And this is because of the love of my family and friends and Creative Living Fellowship. The people at CLF have given me the knowledge and tools to live a better life, to love myself, and to live in the security that comes with a real relationship with God. I have even found, during the 90-day tithing challenge, the ability to repurpose 10% of the money that comes to me toward a truly magnificent and great purpose, spreading enlightenment and love to my community and to the world. If just one person who was like I was at the end of their rope comes to CLF and changes their life like I have done mine, there is no price too big to pay for that reward. So I am sending you this EBT card because that part of my life is over. And I want you to hold it in your hand as tangible proof of the great things that CLF has done for me. I hope it reaffirms your own faith, and as sending it to you has done for mine. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask the beautiful author of that letter to come forward. Kelly, you can come with her if you want. Come on up here, Bella. Our beautiful Bella Enriquez, who had the courage to write that letter to us. It is done. It is done. Oh. P.S. P.S. Bella's mom, by the way, is sitting right there. Hi, Mom. Yeah. P.S. I recently got a raise I didn't ask for, nor was I expecting. I received over $500 in bonuses that I wasn't expecting. And I recently got into a master's program at ASU and have $10,000 more than I need for my college loans, and so much more. We celebrate you, Bella. We congratulate you. That, my friends, is present moment awareness. That is the power of the great I am presence, acting and living and having its being as Bella. And her experience, which is different from ours. We each have our own unique experience, but I know every one of us can see pieces of us in that. And what a role model you are. Thank you for that. I want us to bring this time to a close with a short poem offered by that prolific author, Anonymous. Anonymous was so good. And the poem is called I Am. I was regretting the past, fearing the future. Then suddenly my Lord was speaking. My name is I Am. God paused. I waited. God continued. When you live in the past with its mistakes and regrets, it's hard. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problems and fears, it's hard. I am not there. My name is not I will be. But when you live in this moment, it's not hard. I am here because my name is I am. Let's close our eyes and fully be in this I am presence. The I am presence that is surrounding us, filling us, living, breathing as us. The I am presence that is the energy and life force of all creation. The I am presence that is the love from which everything is manifested. The I am presence, which is the process through which love is brought into form. The I am presence that is only here and now, that knows only here and now, that creates only in the here and now. And that I am presence is my presence. That I am presence is the presence of everyone here this morning, each of us. Perfect manifestations of that presence. Knowing that that is so, I speak my word, recognizing the power of the I am presence in it, recognizing that as I do, I activate the law of the I am presence, which also only knows now. And I speak it for every person here, including myself. Every person within the sound of my voice, every person watching this online now, every person who listens or watches in the future. And I know here and now that if there is any healing to be done regarding our past, any fear created by the past, any hurt, resentment, shame, anger from the past, toward ourselves or others, I know that in this now moment, it is all dissolved into the nothingness from which it came. So we release the past, we accept it, we acknowledge it, and right now, in this now moment, we even honor it, recognizing that it brought us to here in this holy, sacred moment, here in this perfect presence, here today, to experience love, light, and truth at a deeper level. I accept for us as well, any of us who tend to be goal-oriented and vision-driven and perhaps even a little bit compulsive about that. And I put myself right there with you. That we release any attachment to the how, when, where, by whom, and even if those visions and dreams manifest themselves, and yet we hold lightly but have high involvement with them, accepting and knowing that they are our divine birthright. So we absolutely are able to live in that what might seem to be a bit of a paradox, but it isn't. except for each of us that we do that. And when we do, when we heal and release the past, when we hold lightly the future, this moment is filled now. And there is space in this moment to have it be filled with love, with wholeness, with right employment, with safety, with joy, with abundant flow, with divine relationships. So that is what I know for each of us, that we each have those things in this now moment. And oh, do I celebrate that? Do I rejoice and say, thank you, Spirit. And know that the only thing left to do now is, with a heart filled with gratitude and joy, is to release these words, plant them into the infinite law, releasing completely, trusting fully, and being willing to grow from right where I am. So we do release, we do let go, we do grow. And together, let us say, and so it is. Amen.